Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to be continuing with Chapter 10 of my book, Sparrowmancer. As always, I will put a link to this book in the description. Jay led Sparrow through the checkpoint. They crossed a little square and passed the bar. The campers all wore gray, tattered clothes, shirts tucked in, pants rolled into boots. There was a motor pool and a barracks. A guard stood at the entrance to a bunker. There was a hypersensitive on every corner and at every guard position. They looked barely human, all waxy, gaunt, and big-eyed. When one of them had to move, an attendant came and offered a guiding shoulder. They constantly shuffled, grumbled, and squirmed as if shocked. Sparrow felt sorry for them. "I know we turned you away a few days ago," Jay said. "We all saw you casing the place afterward. I'm glad you decided not to try to enter illegally." "I did try to enter illegally," Sparrow said. Maybe. I guess so," said Jay. "But it would have been a lot worse if you'd jumped the fence. We wouldn't be talking like this, that's for sure." "What makes you think I can jump this fence?" Sparrow pointed to the sound abatement panels. They were 10 feet high and crowned with razor wire. "That's how I'd build an android," Jay says. "Better than me. Stronger. Faster. Right?" It would have been easy for Sparrow to pop over the fence like a flea, and he could have snapped Jay in half or killed him with one spell. Now that you ask, it occurs to me that I don't like thinking that way," Sparrow said. "I thought I was human until recently. As far as I'm concerned, I still am. Aren't I more than what I am made of, or what I can do?" "When does a simulacrum become the real thing?" Jay asked. "A philosophical machine. Thinking at all is amazing enough, but metacognition is miraculous. Who built you? Where do you come from?" Buildings surrounded the tower. A big camp exchange, a DFAC, an infirmary. DEW emplacements stood on the streets pointing at the fence. There were even some dumb guns, autocannons, and wad shooters with rifled chrome moly barrels. Sparrow had never seen those before. They had been gone before the gone. Where had Jay gotten them? This camp's scavenging operation must be huge. Civilians passed soldiers in the street. Sparrow could only tell them apart by their weapons. Most of the people he saw were young. Few were as old as the guard at the gate, the one who'd shot the shabby people to death. "You come from the West," Sparrow finally said. "And I never thought of myself as having been built. I didn't even know I had been until recently. To a large degree, I made myself. When you think of yourself, who you are, do you think oocyte, 4-cell, 8-cell, morula, blastocyst? I don't like to think of myself in terms of mechanical processes, factories, designs on whiteboards, development teams. Some gone person invented thinking machines. And that's significant, but it's more significant that I invented me. Hmm, Jay replied. That's a fancy way of saying that you don't know. Not just philosophizing, but also pontificating now. What a world. They climbed the tower, up a rust red ladder, in through a trap door, which Jay unlocked and then locked again behind them. The tower had a view of the whole camp. Its curved windows watched everything, even the surrounding woods. Further east, the forest became a plain. West, Sparrow could see all the way down the road to the start of the forest. Somebody could have clocked his approach from this tower. They probably did. I rode into a wire trap a few days ago, Sparrow said. Someone stole my hover bike. I think they were from this camp. See down there? He pointed to the road. That's where it happened. I don't want to impose on you, but I wonder if you could help me get it back. Jay put his hand on his weak chin. He looked out the window, searched the horizon. Considering Sparrow's request apparently necessitated a good deal of absent nodding. We rarely have trouble with bandits, Jay said, but we don't exactly do background checks on everyone we let in. We try to accommodate anyone who needs a place. The only way we can survive is if we work together. Even a lone traveler must know that. Sometimes we inadvertently take in an undesirable, someone with criminal predilections. When we do, we find them and send them away. Sparrow thought again of the old woman killing the shabby people, their bodies rolling down the hill like garbage, their clothes and possessions wasted, not even good enough to burn for heat. Was that how undesirables were sent away? I'm not making accusations, Sparrow said. I'm sure you'd never condone the thief's behavior. I just want to get my bike back, hopefully intact, so I can be on my way. Can you help me, Jay? Jay turned, still nodding. I want to help, he said. I haven't heard anything about a hover bike. Haven't seen any come in, though I can have someone check the motor pool. Give me a few days to look into it. Meanwhile, we can get you set up with something to do and somewhere to stay. How does that sound? Sparrow didn't like the way that sounded at all. This camp didn't need his help. They didn't even want him inside the fence. This was a bad place to be stuck. He wanted to conduct his own investigation. In a few days, his bike might be nothing more than an armature. Unfortunately, he had to deal with Jay. That sounds fine, Sparrow lied. I appreciate your magnanimity. I'll help however I can. Jay chuckled. Was he making fun? Sparrow tried to match his facial expression to his database. Derision, irritation. Sparrow bugged Jay. Tell me, Sparrow, Jay said. Do you have a dictionary in that head somewhere? A thesaurus? How'd you learn to use big words like magnanimity? It can't be from imitation. I use whatever word is appropriate regardless of size, Sparrow said. Sometimes a big word isn't appropriate, right? Sparrow crossed his arms. Big is relative. Sparrow and Jay descended from the tower, Jay continued to gush about Sparrow's vocabulary, his philosophical acumen, his directness. Sparrow began to feel bullied. The more Jay pointed out Sparrow's exceptional qualities, the more it felt like he was setting Sparrow apart from everything else. There was a message in the praise. You're not like me. You're not like us. Sparrow had always been an outsider. He knew a threat when he saw one. They toured the camp. Jay said that it was called Gold Forest. He'd founded it 3 years ago after wandering alone for most of his life. He'd never heard of spires, the Naveb, or the transhumans. He'd been born in the far mountainous east. Most of the campers had come west from the same darkness, desperate exiles, oil-stained scroungers, hunters, cannibals. Jay painted a picture of his flight from abject bedlam and described Gold Forest as a lamp to light the way for others to escape. Sparrow panned Jay's story for nuggets of truth about the lands east of here. Jay called those lands the Blight. What made him invest so much in these histrionics? As Jay bloviated, Sparrow saw the patterns in his exaggeration. Jay was a confident liar. That made Sparrow uncomfortable. He couldn't know what Jay really contained. Maybe something wicked, worse than threat, or maybe nothing. It was possible that Jay was utterly empty. Sparrow liked being empty. He chased the feeling of nothingness, smallness. He wanted the world to be bigger than he was. But Jay wanted the opposite. He wanted to shrink the world and hold it between his fingers. What then? Crush it? Slip it into his pocket? Jay realized midway through the tour that he couldn't handle Jay. Jay was too obvious to be predictable. The residential district had grown with no guidance. Houses had sprouted up where needed, and roads had appeared with them. The roads were prefabricated amalgam tiles. The houses were sunlit, slab-on-grade duplexes of light-transmitting concrete with thermal shingles. Overhead electrical wires carried power from the reactor to every house and building in the camp. There were no basements, no chimneys, no yards, just fastidious cottages, all variations on the same plan. Gold Forest was like a gone town brought back to life in miniature. Jay claimed that all the materials had come from the Blight and the lands surrounding it. Scavs worked day and night, running the largest scrounging operation in the West. The largest, the biggest, the best. Jay had achieved something special with Gold Forest, but wasn't content with that. He had to inflate his success, and it seemed to Sparrow that he didn't care how convincing he was. This was pathological. Sparrow realized Jay was sick and probably very unhappy. Finally, Jay left Sparrow with Carly, a human. She was a pretty girl with short curls and a button nose, and it was clear that she didn't want to be around Sparrow. When he spoke to her, her shoulders quivered. Sparrow's databank identified her fear. Carly took Sparrow to a house he could stay in. It was blue with a white door. From outside, he could see his neighbors' silhouettes through the transparent concrete. There's lighting inside, Carly said. Try to use it sparingly. Monthly energy rationing starts tomorrow. Sparrow walked through his apartment. There was a power cell range, a cool pantry, a slab bed, and a UDDT. Front window looked out on a row of ice houses. I need a rubber blanket, Sparrow said. Also a bag and a fire lighter. Spend your work, Carly explained. Did Jay give you a job? Sparrow shook his head. He inspected the trash can. There was a bag lining it. He'd never seen that before. We always need scavengers, Carly said. Go to the employment office tomorrow and register. It's the building with the green roof. Sparrow thanked Carly and she hurried out the front door. He watched her from the window as she went down the street toward the west checkpoint. The snap of her stride, her ample shape under her loose rags. She was fit, not skinny like the people at Spires had been. What did she eat? Sparrow went down to the DFAC, but he had no hours, so he couldn't get a tray. Instead, he stood on the wall and watched other campers. They had homegrown vegetables, milk, and meat. Apples, too. There must be an orchard. Gold Forest wasn't just this camp, it was a whole region. Sparrow worried about what it would become. Not all growth was healthy, and the new world didn't appreciate success. Look how the gong had fallen. Jay was trying to recreate something that had failed. Was he the man to do it right? Sparrow wasn't sure. That night, Sparrow went to the motor pool. He tried to be small and slight as a shadow. People passed him, and some looked at him in horror. Others paid no mind, but none greeted him. He saw a man out walking a group of leashed hypersensitives. They pulled, and their handler fought them. They wanted to go somewhere, but their handler wanted them to go somewhere else. What did they want? Where did they sleep? There were many on the street. The slightest spell would set them screaming, even a cantrip. Sparrow wondered if Jay would step in to save him from another death sentence. He saw no sign of his hoverbike in the motor pool. There were combat frames there, as well as kinematic field vehicles. Who were Jay's enemies? Sparrow searched sheds and alleys around the mechanic's shop. He searched the scrapyard and found some power cells. There was even a Platts power plant there, but it was without Foxfire. There were other KF coils, heat sink housings, saddles, and pillions, but there was no CX580 part anywhere. Sparrow's next stop was the dump. There was an armed guard at the gate. She leaned under a light pole, a hypersensitive beside her. She acted as if he wasn't there. Where are you going? The guard finally asked Sparrow. Self-guided tour, Sparrow replied. Just finding my way around. Go on home. Sparrow bade the guard good night and walked away, thinking about how he might break into the dump. He could climb the fence, jump it, or cut through it. It wouldn't be difficult. But would it be worth it? He wasn't likely to find anything there, but he was likely to be caught. Sparrow decided he would go back to his new house lie down on his slab bed and pretend that he was leaving tomorrow. Thus ends chapter 10. And if you are watching this, if you have seen all the other videos thus far, I appreciate you. We are getting close to the end. And if you like these videos, let me know, and we will read part 2, or rather book 2. Sparrowmancer is a series of 3 books. It is an anthology. And I think you would like them. Again, the link will be in the description. Thank you for watching. Peace and loving kindness. And I will see you in the next video.